Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. Thanks for tuning in. This is my $70,000 Ford F-150, and I'm not coming out here to flex, but I'm certainly coming out here to make a video today talking about what it's like to off-road such an expensive truck. But we are going to talk more in depth about if this is even really truly where a truck like this belongs. Ooh, I did go and do a complete suspension overhaul with this truck. I did the Bilstein 6112s up front, the 5160s in the rears, and I also did do the BDS Upper control arms as well. And the whole part of doing this truck build, as I had mentioned way back when, I want to build this truck out to be what I would consider the best all-around pickup truck that I possibly can. Now, a lot of times what happens here on YouTube, if you look in the comments, I took this truck off on a off-road fire trail. And to me, that's more of like a simulation of how I would use my truck. As people come to YouTube to be entertained, they start wanting to see Raptors jumped off cliffs, Ram TRXs destroyed.
There's a lot of damage.
And really the over-the-top truck content, there's plenty of that out here. Again, my purpose for building this truck out the way that I did was how would you, the viewer, most likely put a truck like this to use, which is how I would put it to use. I come from construction, so I spent plenty of time getting out to job sites that haven't broken ground yet. So a lot of times you're going out to areas where you might have to traverse in a couple miles or a mile or so into some rough terrain. So how would a construction project manager use it? Or how would somebody who's an equipment operator who's getting to an excavator on site somewhere, how would they use their pickup truck? Or maybe somebody who's going hunting, how would they use it? So that's really what I'm trying to build out here, and I feel like I have succeeded in what I would consider to be the everyday truck, essentially, for the average person. So that's really what I set out to do, and I feel like I really did that pretty well. So today, we are gonna go out and explore what this truck is capable of. Now, this trail that I am out here on today is Bulldog Canyon out in Tonto National Forest. So it's not anything that is incredibly complex, but it's also not necessarily easy either. There are some really tight areas through here, and that's where I want to talk about where something like this probably doesn't belong. And as I'm getting more into the side-by-side thing, and I've actually had the side-by-side out here, I start to realize I think the side-by-side might be more fun in terms of being able to run through this stuff a little bit quicker and not being afraid of scratching up something that is so expensive to fix. So with that, let's go ahead and hit the trail. But before we do that, I do want to talk about today's sponsor. That is MyMedic. MyMedic offers some medical kits pre-made. This is the mini MyFac kit that they have. It is a pre-made medical kit. There are also larger kits, which I have one in the back of my truck. I use this smaller one on my saddlebags and my motorcycle. I'll throw it in there if I'm going on a trip. They have a lot of different kits for a lot of different uses. I will link them in the description down below if you go check them out. I promote them because I feel like it fits the viewers on the channel. Highly recommend MyMedic if you want to check them out. Again, link in the description down below. So with that said, let's go ahead, get out on the trail and see how this thing does. So before I actually really hit the trails here, I did air down to 24, 25 PSI. So man, that's leaning 16 degrees. All right, we don't need that. We will turn off the parking sensors just to prevent all that beeping. Now, oh, jeez. Now none of this really comes across on camera in terms of angles and all that, but I do have some angles. I just saw it 16 degrees. And the conversation, again, coming out here on the heels of being out here with the Polaris General, the XP4. I've had that out now, I don't know, half a dozen times probably, and actually on this trail a few times. And I have ripped that thing pretty good. In these sections of the trail here, I'm probably doing 10, 15 miles an hour. And right now I'm kind of hovering around 6 to pushing 10. So with the side-by-side, you can definitely come out here and really hammer down and just kind of get to where you want to go. And it's arguably a lot more fun. The stress level of coming out here and off-roading, again, I say a $70,000 pickup truck, which is about what the sticker of this was, again, is trail damage. There I am, 20 degrees. So yeah, it's just a little more stressful coming out here. It can be done. I'll probably do it more just because I enjoy doing it. But the point I made in my side-by-side video, do you go out and buy a $100,000 pickup truck when you talk about a Raptor or a TRX, or do you go out and buy a $50,000 truck and a $30,000 side-by-side, have some money left over, and be able to do on-road and off-road better than what you would be able to do with one of those vehicles alone? I'm really starting to understand the whole reason for side-by-sides and their special use case. The argument for a side-by-side is that all of the panels on the side are basically just plastic, and if you were to tiger stripe them up too bad, you could just easily wrap it. It's not a whole lot of surface area. You could fix that pretty easily in terms of trail damage if you even felt it was necessary. I think most people would wear that trail damage from their side-by-sides as a badge of honor. Then you would ask yourself, why did I come and install these new suspension upgrades and all that stuff if I wasn't intending on really wheeling this pickup truck? And truth be told, it's because I want it to be a better general truck in terms of running off-road, not just mall crawling, but actually running off-road on some fire trails and having suspension that is more capable than the OEM suspension of doing that. And I can say that these shocks are far more capable of doing that. So that is kind of picking up and carrying on from where I left off about, I think that the side-by-sides are maybe a better argument to be had about why you might want to buy a $50,000 truck and a $30,000 side-by-side and have money left over from what you might have maybe spent on a Raptor or a Ram TRX. Getting into the benefits of this now, of course, the creature comforts of this pickup truck are far more robust than what the side-by-side is. So the side-by-side, of course, you're exposed to the elements. Some people are either going to love that or they're going to hate it. And truth be told, I love it because I come from motorcycles and I actually enjoy being a part of, the experience with nature. Right now, I'm sitting here, windows up. The cab is totally enclosed. I've got air conditioning going. I don't hear anything outside. And it's comfortable. But again, it's not as much of the same experience. What's really interesting is that being that this is the hybrid F-150, you hear people that are talking about the electric vehicles and how cool it is to off-road with them because you don't have any engine sound. Well, I get to do that here in the hybrid. Right now I'm riding 9 miles an hour, the motor is off, and I'm just kind of cruising. So it is pretty cool to hear just the tires and no engine sound. It is very quiet. So these Bilstein 6112s and 5160s in the rear, they certainly help soak up a lot of this terrain. And this is not difficult terrain. I'll tell you right now, there is enough here. There's some rocks that I'm coming up to, so I want to make sure I don't put a tire in the wrong spot. Ooh! There's some potential trail damage. That's a sound that you don't want to hear. So with that, that's kind of getting back to this whole point about, do you want to off-road a $70,000 pickup truck? And we are going to check out now and see what kind of damage that was. I believe that might have just been running board. I hope that was just running board. And it was. So there is trail damage. I already have new running boards coming, but that's exactly why you don't want to off-road a super expensive pickup truck. That kind of stuff. It stayed out of the door, but I'd want to put some rock sliders on here if I was going to do this frequently. So while I have plenty of ground clearance, that kind of sucks. All in, that wasn't really terrible trail damage, but certainly not ideal. So for all those keyboard warriors, when they start commenting down below when you post a video about off-roading on a fire trail, that's how most people are going to use these vehicles. Now here is kind of a flatter section. I'll push it up to 15 miles an hour. And honestly, that's about as fast as I probably would approach any of this trail, even through this washboard stuff. Even if I had a Raptor, I don't picture myself pushing it past 15 miles an hour because the trail is narrow. There's things you need to look out for in terms of branches and things that are kind of sticking out on the side. I'm 18 degrees there. And yeah, I mean, you could probably hammer down a little bit more with a Raptor and expand the level of fun that you might be having with it. But again, I don't know how much trail damage a Raptor owner is really going to want to truly take. Now, what I'm going to do here is, against my better judgment, climb this hill, and I will put the drone up to capture what it's like to do this in this pickup truck. Get another angle here. What do you say? Left line more difficult, right line easier. Let's go more difficult. So there we are. Got to, I guess, as far as I'm probably going to take it in this video today. It is not for the faint of heart to come out here with a vehicle like this and push it to those limits. Now, I did just scale up a pretty aggressive climb for what I would call this truck and its capability, and it handled it just fine. But again, do you want to be doing it? That's up for you. Leave in the comments down below. What do you think? Again, I do try to produce content out here for you guys that is for everybody. I mean, for the average person. I could rocket this truck off the edge of a cliff into a giant fireball, and that would be a fantastic thumbnail, but that's not how most people use their vehicles, and I'm trying to be as realistic with it as I possibly can. I am going to take this truck out on what I call the fire road, what I did last time when people kind of crushed me for it, but back in the environment that I think most people are going to use it for. I am not saying that I won't come out here with the family and get into a little bit more fun with the truck, because I do own it and it is fun to do. But again, that is coming with the potential of some trail damage. So guys, thank you very much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel. I'll see you guys next time.